Hi, I'm Anna Maria Vaccaro. We will be joined shortly with from one of my other wonderful colleagues. Here she is, um, Miss Withers.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here in our sophomore parent night, college night. We're really excited to chat with you a little bit about the process and just share with you a little bit of what the college process looks like for your child now who is a sophomore. First, I actually want to say, whoa, you have a sophomore. God bless you all that have sophomores and you have a high school kid in starting the process of even considering college. You may have a child already in college, or this may be your first one going through the process. But again, know that we are here as college counselors to really serve and assist and be with your child all the way up until graduation and hopefully beyond. So a little bit about the agenda today. We're going to do a little bit of introduction and our team, show you a beautiful picture of all of us and who your child is assigned to. We'll talk a little bit about the timeline of what it looks like for sophomores, juniors, and seniors, just like the timeline of college, the process, what it looks like here at SI. We'll talk a little bit about academics. Yes, academics is probably the most important factor when it comes to colleges and universities reviewing applications. We'll talk a little bit about testing, to test or not to test. What does that look like? Should my child take the SAT or the ACT? Should they submit? When should they submit? All of that. Financial literacy. Listen, college is expensive these days, okay? So we are only here to guide you within that process as well. And then we'll have about 10 minutes after to discuss any questions that you may have. All right, so meet the team, left to right. So we actually have a maternity sub, Mr. Paul Hayes. He has been in the college admissions fields for a very long time. He is a veteran in this, and he is, been very well acclimated into the SI community. So he will be here for this semester for Miss Campaverdi's as Miss Campaverdi's sub. There's Miss Vaccaro, who is on this Zoom with us, and myself and Miss Wong, and Mr. Lorenzo. And then we have Coach Blue, who is our newest member as well. He has actually been at SI for 33 years. I literally just sent him a text like, how long have you been here for? He's been here for 33 years in all different capacities, and now he is going to be a part-time college counselor as well. So that is a little bit about our team, and we have the lovely Miss Campaverdi, who just had a sweet, sweet little boy named Logan. And she will be back with your students in the fall semester. All right, just a little bit of about us as your college counselors, as the team, a little bit about our expertise and experience. We have collectively over 150 years of professional experience. We are not rookies in this. We've been in this field for quite a long time. We're very familiar with the process. We're always eager to learn. Because again, just because we've been in this field for a long time, it's ever changing. So there's so many things that are changing, different policies and whatnot, and we're always trying to gain as much knowledge as possible. We also visit campuses regularly. Collectively, we have visited over 300 campuses across the US and abroad. So yeah, we're in this. We're very familiar. We attend a lot of different conferences from the National and Western Association, from NACAC to WACAC, Jesuit High School, and the Bay Area Catholic Counselor Consortium. All right. Yes, some families, not all, but some families may consider hiring an independent consultant. Again, we are bringing this up because there are students that do hire, families that do hire independent consultants. But again, this is something that you have to have a conversation with your family. It is not needed for everyone, or it may be needed for a certain type of student. But we just kind of want to educate you as on if you are interested in hiring an independent consultant, what you should be looking for, some of the criteria to consider for hiring an independent educational consultant is they should possess a certificate in a college admissions counseling program. UC, a lot of the UCs offer that. So if they have those type of credentials, if they're current members of WACAC, the Western Association for College Admission and Counseling, or NACAC, the National Association for College Admissions Counseling, if they're current members in the Higher Education Consultant Association or the Independent Educational Consultant Association, lots of big words. If they are part of those memberships, that's something that you might want to consider as a criteria. It shouldn't really be individuals who say, "Oh, I got my these students into blah 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 blah." Again, it's also about like the right fit, and no college counselor or private consultant can get your kid into a college. It's really off of your child's merit, their academics, letters of rec, that holistic approach. So I'm going to go a little bit into the three-pronged approach of the role of the college counselor, the role of the parent, and then the role of their student. Like all of us play a role. So the role of the college counselor, why are we here? First, we're here because we honestly, truly love doing this work. I think it's such a great privilege to really have the opportunity to help and walk students through this really important time in their life. This is a really big deal on what they're going to do after high school, whether it's going to a four-year institution, whether it's going to a community college, whether it's going to a trade school, or even a post-grad program. There's so many different venues to get to where you want to get to. There's not just like one specific path. And that's one thing is the role of us as a college counselor to, again, I'm using like the assist and navigate. We are really here to service students and help them just understand that there's different avenues to where they want to get to. We also work really closely with their personal and academic counselors. So your child, I'm sure, has met with them multiple times, whether it's for scheduling or just to discuss different things. We're all very close in our department. So there are some of my students that have Miss Merrill or Miss Angeles or Mr. Alvarado. We are communicating with each other. We are talking. We're like, oh my goodness, I just had a meeting with so and so, and Miss Angeles is always like, and so it's really good to get that like some context as well. And so we do work very closely with the personal and academic counselor. Again, as I mentioned, assist in the planning for life after SI, really identifying various opportunities for them. And again, as I mentioned, there's not just like one straight path to get, even when we look at ourselves, right? Like, how did we get into the career field that we're at? So many of us have had different paths. And here we are, even our team, as college counselors, some have come from a community college background, some have come from going to, an Ivy, some have come from, going to a UC, and we're all here at the same place, to serve and do what we love to do. Talk a little bit about the school profile. This is really important. It gives a bit of context about what we offer here at SI, what type of, how many AP and honor courses we offer, the demographics of our school. And we actually send this off to every college and university when it's time for students to submit their application. So colleges and universities are reviewing, every single school has a school profile, and colleges are reviewing the type of school that we are. And from there, evaluating. Remember, colleges and universities aren't comparing or evaluating your students from SI versus students from Sacred Heart or Lake Wilmerding or Lowell. They're comparing them to their peers at St. Ignatius. And so the school profile is very informative. It's on our website. You can literally Google SI school profile, and you'll get the information of even a little bit of percentages of where our students are attending as well. The role of the student is hopefully to just truly learn how to learn a little bit about themselves, learning what they like, what they don't like. I had a meeting with a junior this past week, and he was like, "Yeah, I did not like this type of school. I know for sure I don't want to go to this type of school." And I'm like, that's great. Like the fact that you know, like process of elimination is key in the college application process. You cannot apply to 100 schools, and every school is so different, even the UCs. Every single school offers something unique or different, whether it's a liberal arts education, whether it's a research institution, whether it's a community college, they all have their niche, right? So it's really important for them to learn what they like and what they don't like and express that, be able to express that. Also learning how to research colleges and universities. And I also think it's really I always laugh when students kind of like are confused or like, yeah, I need to research, but they don't understand what that means. And I'm like, you guys, this is your generation. That's all you are on is like the screen and everything. I'm like, go on the university's Instagram, go online, their website, check out their YouTube. I mean, every single college and university has an online presence. So look at their website, check the if there's a major that you might be interested in, look for that major, look at the curriculum, look at the professors, check out the student life. So really doing research on these colleges is important. Engaging with campuses and interest. Um, we have a lot of colleges that come in the fall. Um, and it's kind of, we're doing like college fairs now, and it can be up to like 5 to 10 schools that are here at SI during upper lunch, after school. So that is a great opportunity for um, our students to really, they don't have to go anywhere. They can just, pop their head, at the college fair, introduce themselves, learn a little bit more about the school, about the various programs, or about new programs within the school. Role of the student is, yeah, focusing on academics and extracurricular excellence. What does that mean? Yes, doing the best you can in your academics. And then after that, it's these colleges and universities, and I tell my students this all the time, my juniors right now. Colleges and universities, if you have that 4.5, awesome. If you have that 3.5, awesome too. But colleges and universities, after that GPA is set their junior year, they want to know, okay, what else? What have you been doing Monday through Friday after 2:45 p.m. for the past 4 years? That's really is the going to be that bulk of your extracurricular activities. Like, what have you been doing? What have you been doing every Saturday and Sunday for the past 4 years? Okay. And that's going to really have them to start thinking, right? Okay, yeah, where do I spend my time? Am I spending my time volunteering? Am I spending my time in a sport? Am I spending my time in performing arts? Am I spending my summers? And I know Ms. Vaccaro is going to highlight this a little bit more, but what am I spending my summers doing? Whether internships or taking a community college course, like all those are going to play a factor in the admissions process. Also attending X periods. This is where we really get to um, have that face-to-face contact with your student. And we'll have more junior year one-on-ones, but the X periods really allow us to give important information, and for them to know who we are and for them to take initiative and come and see us, whenever they want to. Again, virtual college events are important. And there are campus visits that you can do. And me and Miss Vaccaro, we were just talking about this. And if you have that opportunity to visit schools during spring break or visit schools during fall break, like by all means, that's amazing. But also in the same aspect, if it doesn't fit in your family schedule, to do, multiple trips or whatnot, it's okay. You have to financially, number one, be able to afford to go to the East Coast and go for 5 or 6 days or a whole week to visit all these schools, you can look at you can look at it virtually. I have students that either visit, from sophomore and junior year and do the whole college tours and visit multiple schools. And then I have other students and families that do their research first, apply, and then once they get accepted into their maybe 3 to 5 schools, that spring break they actually of their senior year, that's when they actually go and visit the schools. So again, it really depends on your family's time and finances. If you can, it's great. But as parents, like, don't stress yourself out if you can't. Like, even for me, like I was just talking to Ms. Vaccaro, like I can't keep up with the Joneses at my daughter's private school. I just can't. So I do what I can as a parent, and that's the best that we can do. Okay. Again, these colleges are coming to campus at SI. And that's a great FaceTime with the admissions counselor. These are the people that are actually reviewing and reading your child's letter of rec. So that's your child's application. So that's a number one. That's great for them to really put themselves out there and meet with these admission officers that are on our campus in the fall. Yes, reach out to a college counselor, reach out to us, but it's always so important to find balance. And it's so hard to, we say it so much, like we have to find balance, make balance, have balance. But when these students are like, well, when I'm looking on these websites, they're saying that, we need to have all these APs, or they want to see this, this, and that. And that really comes within just a little bit of your own values. Like how much can your child really handle? And also, I always say, you want them to also have fun and enjoy themselves and still be a kid, right? This is their time to really just hopefully not have tons of issues and really just have a good time in high school. So I think having that balance, but also having that support is so important. And that's where we go into the wonderful role of the parent and the guardian. So, parents, moms, dads, guardians, grandparents, listen, all I have to just say is you guys are doing an amazing job, because parenting is a whole nother level. And the fact that you guys have high schoolers, it's wow. So I just want to give you the shout outs for it, for just doing an amazing job already. But really, what is the role for you, to create open, discussion about college and, listening to their needs and desires. I was thinking, I don't know if any of you guys have Instagram, but there's this thing that I think was going on last fall, and it was this whole thing where you would say, we listen and we don't judge. And then like you may say something that, oh, I did this, but don't judge me and whatnot. And so it's very comical. It's very, very funny. But I also encourage you to, these are 16, 17-year-old kids, right? So they're trying to understand, and still not fully understand everything, right? As much as they're trying to, it's so much, and they can only do and hold so much. So, think of that theme like as a parent, sometimes just listen, nod your head, digest it, right? It might be hard. I hear you. But trying just to do that and hearing out like what your child really wants, and seeing like, okay, if you really want this, show me, like maybe let's do some research together. Let's look at this. And that's where you guys can come in and encourage and coordinate, again, virtual visits, in-person visits, learning how to do some research or setting up some time, keeping them accountable, but also, again, your child's, again, sometimes you have a child that's like totally like, mom, dad, I don't want you guys to be, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Listen, I've heard it. We've all been in the meetings with the parents and the child. And then there are some that are very collaborative with their parents. So again, however your kid is, just encouraging them, listening to them without judgment sometimes. And again, we know that your kids are busy. We know their schedules. They are booked and busy. So financial aid, begin to plan financially for college. Have that conversation about what it looks like. Are you applying for FAFSA? Are you going to do you have a 529 plan? What does that look like? And kind of just being transparent and honest because again, we've had it multiple times with students where they're like, yeah, my parents they're only going to pay if I go to this type of school, or they're only going to cover this type of portion. And it's good just to be transparent as early as on, even as sophomore year, so they have an idea and they're not crushed like senior year. Score account is you should have access to that now. This is the platform that we use that your child will have access to, and they have it already for them to research schools. But this is also how we, as college counselors, submit a portion of the documents. You, as a parent and guardian, have access now. You should have received something.
So much. And please register with SCORE because there's such vital information on there to even show you how did past SI students do getting into school, getting wait lists, etc. So really important tools, right? So there's a few variables to take in under consideration, right? Sometimes it would be about the location, what's around the area. Now, we do know we have some students who have not been all over the 50 states or even internationally, but there are resources like even just going on Google Maps and finding out the environment of the campus. There's also Google review. Did you know that on Google Maps about the location that's available on there? The nice thing on SCORE, they have the Google map on the website as well too. Another thing is the academics. What do they offer? Now it gets to be a lot when we go on a campus website because nothing's standard. But if they do you notice the hint? Go on SCORE. They can get a general idea of general majors that are offered at the campus. Once your student says, hey, I like this campus, then they could go to the campus website to kind of really know, like, hey, do they have business, but also has a concentration on entrepreneurship or a specific type of engineering, right? But these are beginning steps. They are just beginning their high school career. But at the same time, this is stuff that they want to look at as well, also on SCORE. And in case you did not have the link on there, I'm not sure, did I register? Did I not? By the way, it is SCORE, not Squire. That link is just right in the webinar chat. So just please feel free to click on that as well. And then if you don't get it by Friday, like Ms. Wither says, send an email to your college counselor next week, and then we'll get you all set up. But then also there's offers about like what type of internships, career placement, both on SCORE will show you like average salaries that the students have. The federal government has a website that shows on college a college scorecard as well. There's LinkedIn. Yeah, so your child may not be too young, but you could see how successful students are. Like today, I was talking to a student about great campuses that they may not know about. Let's say Haverford in Pennsylvania, whose admissions rate is less than 20%. Well, if it's less than 20%, they're doing something good. So there's a lot of information they could check out looking, or they may do the reverse. What campuses is providing the best salaries, right? PayScale is another website to do. So there's a lot of websites, but we do urge students to start off with SCORE because that's where the beginning steps are. And then you also want to look at what activities they offer. One of the reasons why we made a commitment working with SCORE is because did you know that you could go on hashtags on the whole network site of all the colleges, say, hey, campuses that offer co-op programs, like where I do an internship while doing the curriculum, or maybe there's a certain affinity group you want the campus to offer, or a very environmental club, or maybe you want intramural sports. On SCORE, you could click on a hashtag and they'll kind of show you all the campuses that have that. And there's also a search engine that you can search based on what we just talked about, location, right? The majors, are they offering this program or that? So that's just a great way to kind of start off that adventure and well too. So don't forget, like the reason I say you're all in is just think about what made you all in for SI. What are some elements for that? And to continue kind of reflect what's working for them in meeting those goals and in that exploration. Now, what we're going to do is the sophomore timeline. What should they be doing now and then moving forward? So grades. It's really interesting. I'll have kids, oh, junior year matters. Senior year doesn't matter. All the years matter, right? You're applying as a high school student. You started in ninth grade, right? So they're looking at their entire record and looking at your progress through the years to see how you prepared for them. And are you ready not only to be admitted, but be a successful student at their campus or university. So that's why it's so important to work with their personal academic counselors. Sometimes students will come see us as college counselors. Like, I'm thinking about this major, I'm thinking about this campus. What do they need to look at? The nice thing is about for students selecting junior year, it's more of, am I going to take summer school to open up something else over the school year? Do I need to have more of a balance that's like not too many honors? Or where can I be more successful? A lot of times I tell students when they're looking at their junior year, don't forget senior year, right? Because colleges want you to at least continue in this pathway. Now, if you go up, awesome. But again, it's not up just how many honors or AP courses, but it's also about being successful in the classroom. But as Ms. Withers mentioned, it's not just only about grades. It is a key factor. Don't get me wrong, but is not the only factor as well. So that's why it's important to know what we call know your A to G list. This shows you the A to G list is what's been created to the UC systems like UC Berkeley, UCLA, but also the Cal States use of how these colleges are viewed and other even out-of-state schools look at our A to G list, not to use to meet their requirements, but as a reference on there. So it is on the chat. So if you want to look at those requirements, just to see like how some of things are countered and considered. So like if they're looking at a CSU, there's searching religion classes that count for English. So those are things that are important to do. And then again, it's important to start exploring a college, not doing college applications, but just exploring, making sure the student is successful in their courses, successful in their personal life, successful as a family member with you, but also then starting these baby steps. And SCORE is a great place to start. And then the other thing is really key. When I see juniors, right? Like we're right in the midst of meeting with a lot of our juniors. A lot of times a student will go, oh, this is my summer. I have to go, hey, look at me. I checked the box. I did something significant this junior year. And one's activities outside should always start for what's going to engage the student to make them happy, regardless of the college. In my 30 plus years, that's where I've seen students to be the most successful, to show the most contributions, right? So those are things that it's important to explore and engage with. It's always about the quality not of the program, not the quantity. And how are you building on that as well too? There's a lot of myths like it has to be something for all 4 years, or if I do this program at this college, they'll definitely accept me. No. It's all about the whole person. So you'll hear that message again and again, because that's what the college says. And that's why finding is so key, because if you're too exhausted from your classes, you're too exhausted for outside activities, you're too exhausted for other responsibilities, then how are you going to be okay for you? If you don't have you, the rest doesn't become successful. So that is critical. And that is an important job. I know when I have my parent hat, I'm always looking, how are my children balance where they're getting their sleep, they're having their good, healthy fun, they're and so that they can enjoy their life, because that they're never going to be this age again. But also how they engage in. So if they do an interest or a skill that they love, they win no matter what happens at the end of senior year. So let's think about some summer opportunities. So it's really important. We said it over and over to be authentic, meaningful. It could be employment or internships. We just advertised a project pull on SITV that's due this Friday. That's an internship, a paid internship available for all SI students. It could be a hobby or interest. How many students have learned an instrument? I had a student who always put information on Wikipedia. Yeah, that was their hobby, right? But what is something that they're building and growing? Those are the stories that college reps and even me remember all the time. Service, they have to do service hours. So a lot of times students like, oh, let me just do service hours and get it up. And like, whoa, take a pause. How do you want to contribute? How do you want to explore something that maybe relate to your major? Why not double dip this process? And if you find that service project needs to be a nonprofit organization, we'll give you a link of all those different places. That's key. But the key thing is, what contributions are they making? I like this. I contribute and add value to the world every day, right? It doesn't mean do everything every day, but putting it out there. But the reason why you want balance is because if you don't have balance, we don't want this result that's happening, right? So that's really important. So it is all our jobs as parents and guardians to be that protector, to be that safety net. If they do get on a tightrope, and also maybe tell them, you need to get off the tightrope. There's too much going on. There's too much going on. All right. So what does junior year kind of look like? All right. So this is not today, but in the future, right? So think about this when they're selecting their classes. Are they going to be successful in their classes? They should talk to their sophomore teachers. Am I ready to do an honors class? Can I continue that honors program through senior year? Do I need to make up courses? Hey, personal academic counselor, where do you recommend? How can I take some courses? We actually had some students who love taking courses. There are some free options for enrichment for students, like there's even a UC transferable course learning about Bob Marley, and I'm not exaggerating that, or ceramics or photography as well too. And then this is when they have to really select senior courses really carefully, because all seniors will be taking another 7-class called AP College Application. It's a lot of work. And so that balance is key. And that's why looking at a 2-year plan is important. They also need to know, this is why you want them to explore sophomore year, beginning steps. What do colleges want? Remember, right now, your sophomores should be on the selfish end. Let me see what I need and what I want. And then you have your colleges like, okay, what do they want and what do they need? Now, not all colleges may not tell you what they need, because that's pretty much behind the curtains information, but they'll do have like course requirements information. If they get engaged and have a conversation with the rep over time, there'll be things that'll be obviously revealed through that engagement and that relationship. This should be viewed as a relationship with the colleges. So that's why you want to have that balance list. They will be taking the PSAT just like they took the pre-ACT. It's automatic. All students will take that just to make sure to help them decide, do I want to take a test or not take a test, right? Because remember, over 2,000 colleges are test optional still. Some schools at fairtests.org, that does show you all that. And again, you keep me hearing this engagement. Now, when it's about admissions, that is the role of your beautiful student. I know they're young, but they're young adults, and they could do an email. They could start a college fair. It's okay to just say, I'm just a sophomore, and I was just wondering if you could tell me some information. I remember talking to sophomores at our last college fair last month. Just go and ask, like, what, can you tell me some highlights about your campus? They love that. That's why they're there to doing that job. But when regarding financial aid, that could be complicated. And I know sometimes it could be very complicated. Like my older children come from multiple households too. So do know this, parents and guardians, you can reach out. I didn't say admissions, financial aid. So feel free to do that and do the net. I recommend do the net price calculator first and then reach out to the financial aid office. It's 2 different offices. So just keep that in mind. And then I showed this here because the factors of admission is going to vary from school to school, even between UCs. There are 9 under UC programs. There are 22 Cal States that your students could apply to. Each one prioritized differently. So don't assume the right shoe is designed exactly as the left shoe, even if their neighboring campuses are on there. So that's why it's important to have that conversation, because how they profile a student and look at a student will be different. So, I'm going to go into summer just like sophomore year. And I really always tell them, I want you to be you, do you, for you. And why? Because that's where the main success will be, not just for today or tomorrow, but even when they're 30 years old. Well, I guess that is tomorrow. So again, meaningful, authentic activities will be different for each student. It's quality matters, not quantity, right? No, who wants a laundry list, right? I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. How is that meaningful? And then again, the same thing, employment and internships, right? And by the way, I've had some students who are ice cream scoopers, right? Who have been very successful in the college process. I'm talking about schools that have 17% or lower admissions rate. Yes, gotta love those ice cream scooper because they were able, because their balanced self, not because they're just an ice cream, but their whole collective to being themselves. So don't feel it has to be at a law firm or at a doctor's office. It's about really this key thing, exploration, that engagement, and then service, talking about that contribution. Do know by junior year, they need to complete their core project. At the Root Based Center on our SI website, there is more clear information what gets approval. They will need to do a proposal. A lot of times they like to do different programs, but this is where most of their service hours are. And by the way, if they're thinking about a career, why not, again, do a service project that's meaningful for them, that helps them to get that experience? Because sometimes students will do something that's hands-on experience is totally different than what they read. And like, they'll either, I love it, I don't know, or I don't want to do that. But that is so important. Okay, look how much we talked about. OMG, right? Stay with us. And guess what? We will be with them, their college counselors, along with their personal academic counselor, and as well as all their teachers. And guess what? With you too in this process. Okay. So what's senior year going to look like? All right. So they're going to need to finalize their college list, of course, with you and with themselves. And then it has to be approved by their assigned college counselors. We will offer a school day testing. So you may hear some other schools be like, oh my God, I can't get a test day. We will allow them to take a test, both in their fall semester, their senior year. And I apologize, the last slide did not have in junior. They will have an option to take it at SI. So they don't have to do this mad rush. It's only SAT, not ACT. But guess what? If they're going test optional, remember, we're going to give you a presentation not too long from now. UCs, CSUs, and some private schools are test free. What does that mean? You have a perfect SAT or ACT score, they won't view it. There's decades of research of schools that have shown that the test doesn't really measure the students' grade success in the classroom. Now, you may say, well, then why are some schools adding on the test being required? Because that is true, some, but remember, there's still 2,000 are still test optional. Well, there's some politics, right? We all have politics at work, right? There's other rationales. And that's something that you could ask for them, to the school, but do know test optional is not going away. And test required at some campuses is not going to go away either. So that's why you want to research that ahead of time. Applications, yes, this is when they do applications. They all, majority of them open up August 1st. They need to have a checklist because they did all their homework before. This school needs this. This school needs that. This school requires this financial aid form. This school has this scholarship. This school offers this merit aid. This school doesn't offer any merit aid. Yeah, not every school offers scholarships. And then they, throughout the senior, they're constantly checking on their app status, right? Yes, even today, like I just reminded my seniors who applied to University of Wisconsin-Madison, who didn't get automatic acceptance applying early. Yes, applying most of them in the fall. Hey, they want you to give some more information. So make sure you do that. Deadline is February 15th. So that's why you don't want to have a huge list. It's okay now, like they're just using it like an accordion, right? An accordion goes big and then small, but then here and then here. And you want to make sure it's manageable because it's a lot to check on. It's like, you don't want to like be right. If you're dating a lot of people, it's hard to keep track of everything. Remember, this is a relationship they're developing with the colleges. Of course, we're there for them. They're college counselors. Also, English teachers, oh my God, so lucky. Whenever I go visit alumni, they always go, thank you, SI English teachers, right? So not only do they help them in the college process, but also help them to be great writers when they're in college. And then also they'll be applying for financial aid and scholarships. Scholarships are since freshman year. So there are scholarships and they can see their personal academic counselors or their college counselor for scholarships. But the financial aid process, the planning program starts now with you, but filling out the actual forms required by the colleges start their senior year. Remember, this is a relationship they're developing with the colleges. Of course, when we had that college fair last month, some seniors were deferred, meaning they were not denied, but they're still being looked at. It's like, oh, you better go talk to that rep at TCU down there, because that engagement, they want to, like, you want to show them, like, this is something I'm really interested in your school, right? Again, think about relationship. A college is going to say, like, how are you? Some of them would just use essays and their recommendation to show, like, hey, you're a great match for us. Some of them, a lot of them will use that. And then, like, are you going to our presentation? Are you visiting us even virtually? Are you coming to events when we come to your school? So just know that they use all those different factors. And then by May 1st of their senior year, they'll be deciding one campus that they will be attending. So academic rigor and challenge is still important, that balance at home. A lot of this is repetitive, but it's important to kind of see it, because this is what the colleges are looking at. It's not just the letter grade, the GPA on there. And so knowing the profile, knowing their A to G list, just to help them to figure out what their 2-year plan is going to be. And their personal academic counselors there to help them, and we're there to support them as well to get that balance list. And scheduling forms on PowerSchool is due on February 19th. And you should make sure, if you haven't read the emails from your personal academic counselors, please do so. So what are some resources for you? We got them. We're here as individuals, but we also have other things, college search and more on SCORE. Yeah, so please make sure you get that link and have your student maybe once a week, just for like 30 minutes, play with SCORE. It's a great, wonderful tool. Also, Miss Withers, she goes on SITV, let students know about different programs and announcements that are available. Also, Enrich Your Life, we have a playlist on YouTube. You're watching one of them now, talking about different opportunities for students so they can get engaged and find themselves out there. So please know that's on our YouTube channel, SI College Counseling. Service opportunity. Here is the link. Yes, I know, like, where is that service directory link? You may not be able to open it, but your SI student will be able to have access. So that's on the chat right now. And then moving forward, they want to just keep on exploring, right? Our SI YouTube channel is available to them. That is the URL for the site. And then also for wellness as well. All their college counsel, personal academic, college counselors, and they just need a more personal check-in. We also have our wellness counselors as well, too. God bless, and our wellness counselors. So just remember to test or not to test. There's still 2,000 schools that don't require it. Yeah, there are still schools like military academies, Georgetown, Stanford on the list, but notice there's not a laundry list of schools that do require it. If you have not gotten that pre-ACT fall, please reach out to their personal academic counselors for that. And then the PSAT will be digital next year to prepare them for the actual SAT. But all UCs and Cs, you're test free. Okay, screenshot. So take a screenshot here. This is the test optional website. So this is a webinar that we will be having on February 27th. So if you're leaning, I don't know if I should take the test or not, or I'm taking the test, what is it all about? Please click here. You do need to register for that event. Thank you for doing that. I know so many meetings. Money method, we have someone who speaks to all our families, 9th through 12th grade, and doing presentation. This is the password to our resource page. So key, because how do I understand what's a FAFSA CSS profile, my intuition scholarships? So Paul Martin is a gem. If you go on our YouTube channel, we also have some extra financial resources on there. And also there was a video presentation interview with him too about financial aid in general. Upcoming webinars. Screenshot time, screenshot time. All right. So February 27th, we already talked about that. College night. Yes. You want to learn about the public colleges in California? Come see Miss Withers and I. We'll be back again on March 6th. We're not boring. And then March 27th, college night, private, out-of-state public colleges with our other fabulous college counselors. With, by the way, those two March events are with the actual college admission folks, and some of them are directors. Woo! We like to give you the really great sources of information. And then again, financial aid from Paul Martin, building a generosity and affordability as well too. So screenshot that. And if you can't be there, have a friend there, but these are great resources. Start now. All right. I think we have 10 minutes for Q&A. Woo! Now, my older kids were in a generation where they were test required. And I was very biased about the test. I wasn't happy about it because they looked miserable doing all this test prep stuff. And I literally, after 1 hour, said, we're stopping this. Because I'm like, this is not how you're shining as an individual and as a person. That was my choice for me as a family. Because I knew if they went test optional, that they went test required, that the college are going to look at a lot of other stuff, right? So just know that you want to kind of look at your high school placement test scores. You know if your kid's a great tester or not. And here's the thing is too, if you're still maybe, you could still take the test and choose not to send those scores. But if they do have Georgetown on their list or University of Tennessee, Knoxville, those campuses require it. But are you going to apply to all those schools that require it? That's why you're exploring right now. So it's maybe so that next event on February 27 is good, but just know your student, and Miss Withers could chime in, should really lean on what makes them shine, not what they struggle in. And that makes them a better person, and they feel better too.
Also, thank you, Ms. Vaccaro. Can you go back to the slide for the dates of those important dates? Some families want to see that. Another question is, do you help students think through majors? Absolutely. When we have one-on-ones in our junior year, we discuss potential majors, different interest, but also a lot of students change their minds all the time. We could kind of talk a little bit, especially we look at their transcript too, and their transcript we always talk about is their academic story. So when a student is thriving maybe in their English or social science courses and they want to go into poli-sci, we're like, okay, yeah, we can kind of see that in your academics that you're really highly, you love, you're taking AP Lit, you've taken all the English honors, you're taking US government and all that. So from there, we kind of look at their transcript and say, okay, we see that you're really interested in the STEM. You've taken a lot of the most like rigorous math courses. Share with me a little bit about that. And then again, 3 or 4 months later, things could completely change. So by freshman year, of their first semester in college, a lot of students end up changing their major. But yes, we highlight that a little bit, but I would say specifically in my college counseling like method, I don't heavily focus on a major, but a lot of our students do want to go into the engineering, computer science, nursing, business. So those are the very competitive majors.
Yeah. And the one thing I would just add about majors, I tell students undecided is a beautiful major, but there's if they find a campus like Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, or if they're thinking about engineering, nursing, architecture, visual performing arts, they may want to get engaged over the summer in something like that. This is something that I need to plan because some of those majors are more competitive than others. Just to give you an update, SCOTUS did make a ruling about affirmative action that a student who puts down their ethnicity on their application, this is for all public and private schools across the nation, that cannot be considered for admissions. However, their experiences as one can. So for example, right, so whether someone is, does a lot of regarding about for their affinity group. I've had students who go out in their community, do a lot of great things, or there's some beautiful things that their culture, whether it be music performance or whether it be literature, from great individuals that they identify with. A lot of our students have shared those stories, and college admissions, including the UCs and CSUs that have not used ethnicity since 1990s, so the late 1990s, still consider that, because again, it's talking about meaningful, authentic experience that shows contributions. So I think the fear, like, oh, will they discriminate against me if I check this box or not? It's one, SCOTUS does not allow colleges to look at that. It's just answered for surveys purposes. That's not used in admissions, but it's about the presentation of who they are and their experiences. And what I mean by who they are is what they've been doing both in the classroom and outside of the classroom is taken under consideration.
Ooh, do they have to declare a major when they are applying to colleges? No. There are, again, I think Ms. Vaccaro kind of highlighted that you can completely go undeclared. Some colleges, especially liberal arts, don't offer it until the second semester of their sophomore year. So no, that's not something that has to be required. But also, if a student is interested in getting into like a computer science and engineering or a business school, if they go undeclared or go for a different major, it's not gonna be, don't think that, oh, okay, I can immediately like transfer into that school. It's not as easy to transfer. Sometimes it's almost impossible to transfer into like a nursing program or a business program. When you maybe went undeclared or put your major in as philosophy. So don't do that if your intention is to just see if you can transfer in. They'll like automatically just say, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, be careful playing the major game. There's a question that there are some students we do know that have a decided major, and then they'll get in the mail outside programs like, hey, participate in this program. It's so enriching. It's so great. There's a specific one that a parent has mentioned as a chapter, and I want to just make it more general. There's going to be a lot of invitation both to you as parents and guardians and to your student about do this program. And a lot of times they tend to have a high price tag as well too. And we've had a lot of students do various programs and they enjoy it. But sometimes when a student does it for the college, they expect, I'm going to get huge bonus points. Again, when I talked about all those timelines, I said, what are the students' contributions, right? That they come up from that. I still remember students who didn't do a special program in business, but did a huge fundraising at the school and talked about the marketing they had to do, the why they did that, how they collect other people. I mean, it doesn't have to be a name brand thing. Your actions make you, the student, your name brand. That's what you want to be recognized. So don't feel that if they are associated with a specific thing, that's something that's key. And then and also remember, you can work with both a personal academic counselor and college counselors to kind of create, activities that will work best for the students. But again, the key thing is balance. Ms. Withers, the next one, please.
In thinking about classes for the junior year, is it better from a college admission perspective to take a non-honors class and get an A or an AP honors version of that course where one gets a B? I love this question because we ask this question to admission counselors all the time. And their answer literally is, well, we want them to take the AP or honors course and we want them to earn that A. So, my advice just from a college counselor perspective, and going into this next question about like mental health, it's really like how much can your child really juggle? And do they actually really enjoy the class? Do they want to be challenged in this class and it's actually interesting to them? Then as if I were the parent, I'd say like, yes, go for it. But if you're just, again, like Ms. Vaccaro said, like just doing it as a check mark, I mean, we have so many kids their senior year that they just tap out. It's just so overwhelming. So, um, again, if it's a class that they're really interested in and maybe they eventually want to study this in college, then, absolutely. But again, going into the next question about balance and mental health is so important. Ms. Vaccaro, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, no, I'm talking as a parent, even that mental health, maybe your kid has it all together all high school year, but they've not taken care of themselves. I've seen working in multiple high schools and multiple colleges, students fall through the crack. All the our counseling team is not about students getting into a college, but more importantly, graduating in college. And then I always say when they're 30, I want to see them being happy individuals. That's what we all want. And then regarding about the research about different careers, great question about there, because there's going to be careers. Think about it. If you're old like me, like what was a webmaster? Now these kids, like there's a huge job market for AI. There are going to be some jobs that haven't been created yet because this is a very fast moving industry. The reason why we want students to use SCORE is number one, there is a career assessment that they can go and take on there to talk about their interests, just to see where their skills or interests are. Right. Then when students start exploring colleges, remember one of the factors were academics, right? Look at some of the courses. I've had students say, I want to be a nurse, but I hate chemistry. Do you know how much chemistry is in nursing? And I don't want anyone sticking a needle in me that doesn't know their chemistry, right? So that's something that's important to do. But we also talk about the writing and stuff like that. So we do look at that information and then what the industry is looking for, but also when a student goes to a college website, let's just say they find a school that's Haverford, when they search on outcomes on a college website, you'll see where students are going. Pay scale, which gives you an average salary of all rankings of various different professions. But you could go on LinkedIn as well. If you're like LinkedIn, what? We can help your student create a LinkedIn account once they're 16, and they don't have to do a full account on there, but they could say, hey, I want to see how kids at Marquette are doing in business and look at their experience and where they're getting job placement. So there's so much out there, as Ms. Withers says, but I think starting baby steps and then using us as a guide along with the academic counselor to find out that area where they will thrive in the most.
Thank you. Thank you so much for attending this meeting. We hope this was helpful. Again, it's a ton of information, and this is just the beginning.